From the back of buses to the big screen, sex is everywhere in the Western world. Bombarding our senses, intruding upon our daily bread, drowning the fat, bald and ordinary in a whirlpool of live lovelies. But no one's doing it as much as you think or see. We're all too busy just keeping up appearances.
The sex is all on the streets today, it's just not in the bedroom. No husbands and wives are having sex. The sexless marriage has become ubiquitous in the United States and Western culture. The reason why sex is so pleasurable is that it makes you feel intensely alive. For most people today, sex does the exact opposite. You know, people have sex in order to fall asleep, in order to purge their bodies of tension, so I think we've really lost that sacred...
Sex has been hijacked from the bedroom and made to sell everything to every man and his dog. It's the great prostitution of intimacy and the seduction of innocence.
Sex and women have become almost marketing tools, primarily. I find it astonishing that 60 years after feminism, 60 years after feminists rightly demanded that women be treated as equals, of equal intelligence, of equal heart, that the most famous women in the world are models or actresses, people who are in no way distinguished by their brains, and distinguished entirely by their busts, by their bodies. And these women are at the forefront of marketing. You know, a woman today is like a walking sandwich board. We see this with people like Paris Hilton, who's the most famous woman in America, famous for being an empty vessel, a stupid clod. And she's done nothing but be attractive and dumb simultaneously in equal measure.
With role models like these, it's no wonder we've lost our way. We wallow in America's vacuous idolization of celebrity.
Never in the history of the world has any civilization produced entertainers at its apex. Entertainers, court gestures, they were always in the spare time. You know, the famous people were thinkers, military men, writers. No one can remember a single actor or actress of even 100 years ago, with the exception of John Wilkes Booth, who became famous because he shot Abraham Lincoln. But aside from that, we remember Shakespeare, the playwright, not the people who acted the plays. Today, who the heck's ever heard of the playwrights? We've heard of the actor who memorizes the lines.
And that freedom of speech that we cherish so much in the West? Well, try and say this.
James Hardy, Monsanto is and Kentucky Fried Chicken, practice. Yeah, sure, I can say that.
This is libertarianism gone mad.
And worse, we now seemingly excuse an ugly relapse of misogyny.
Once upon a time, Americans used the term nigger as the ultimate racist slur, treating a whole group of God's children as a subgroup. And thank God that word became demonized. You can't say it in America anymore, and rightly so, because its connotations are so demonic. They connote a whole history of putting people down and seeing them as a means to an end. The word bitch has now replaced it. Men today, a bitch used to be a term reserved for a very mean-spirited woman. Today, it's any woman who doesn't look good. It's any woman who didn't accept your date. Your proposal to go out for a drink. The misogyny of the culture is striking. Now, how could we have good relationships when men have no respect for women?
Or for children.
We've had other statistics that have shown that men, single men in New York, which is an international trendsetter, single men prefer to download pornography on the internet and masturbate and even have sex with their girlfriends. So this is becoming a crisis. So...
Why do we need to sexualize children before nature does it? Because the market craves new and younger customers, new and willing victims of merchandise lifestyles.
With entertainers at the center of our culture, we have created a culture of narcissism. If you speak to most 12-year-old girls and you say, what do you want to do when you grow up? They will tell you, I want to be an actress. I see this even with religious girls, like the girls who go to my kids' schools. Now, why are they saying that? Because what they see is these are the only people who are really respected. These are the only ones who people really want to know. They want their autograph. These are the people who draw massive crowds to see them. If you want attention, you should be a self-absorbed narcissist. And that's the message that younger people are getting.
Those media role models, magazines, TV, radio, the movie stars, the singing stars, they become the role model. And childhood is imitative in a way. A child is trying to explore their own development, and try to reflect an ideal that they want to aspire towards.
What they do get is this constant streaming of the trim and terrific, who, no doubt, lead glittering lives, interrupted only by torrid afternoons of the wild, marvellous sex that you and I are supposed to be having with our partners. I don't think so.
You know, we're not saying, oh, this is so nice to be here with this person and it's so nice just to feel skin on skin. We're looking at what's missing, you know, the orgasm is missing or the male can't last long enough. And that was one of the things that sex therapists did too. We gave guys a hell of a time. You know, you've got to do it better because you're letting poor women down. And so these guys have practiced and there are now men for a whole range of reasons can last a long time, sometimes because they're masturbating an awful lot. And he can last for 20 minutes or half an hour. The poor woman's bored. You know, she's either bored or sore. So, you know, again, the focus on performance rather than what is meaningful. What they've been told in all these self-help books, that if you want it badly enough and you try hard enough, you'll get it. That's probably been the most dangerous message culturally that we've had for a very long time.
I mean, whatever happened to boy meets girl?
The way we date in the West is we have sex at the beginning of the relationship, when you first get to know each other. And then you go, okay, thank God we got that out of the way. And now that we've skipped all the essential stages of a relationship, the process of attraction, which leads to verbal communication, which leads to emotional intimacy, which culminates in physical intimacy. Now that we've gone from, I met you, let's have sex, and skipped all the, we think we're going to build a healthy relationship. That doesn't work. And what gives is the continued sexual interest in the relationship. Sex is actually the soul of a relationship. The termination of a sex life in a married couple's existence is the functional termination of the marriage itself. It means they have ceased to be lovers and all they have is something functional. And they will still carry on almost by a process of osmosis, almost by a process of, the momentum will still be there. They'll still pick up the dry cleaning. They'll still pay their kids' tuition fees. They'll still take the kids to school. But they will not share any deep intimacy.
To remedy this, more and more couples are finding problems where there weren't any. So it's off to the sex therapist.
I think sex therapists hold sex out as this glittering prize because sex therapists say that if you do it the right way, you'll get it. You can get this prize. Anybody can get it. And we're not saying to people, we're all different. That notion of individual differences means that some people won't have a strong sex drive, some people won't achieve orgasm easily, so they're never going to get that glittering prize. And what they're left with is, well, if I don't have that, I'm bereft. And that's the tragedy of the way that we're thinking about sex in modern times, because we're not thinking about what we do have and what can be in a sexual relationship, even if it's not so sparkly.
Well, a couples club is a safe place for people, for couples really, to come and explore their sexuality.
The West is selling itself the notion that sex is nirvana, the meaning of life, wisdom, divinity. 2,000 years as the preeminent civilization, and it's come down to peddling tits and bums to ourselves.
Hence we get the concepts of one-night stand, which in our lingo have become almost as commonplace as, coin laundry, speed driving, or, it's something that we just talk about, very blasé terms now.
70% of the internet is porn. I mean, that's an astonishing figure when you consider that this is the greatest technological innovation since we landed a man on the moon.
No one wants to return to the 1950s and all of the sexual repression and the furtiveness and the guilt and the hang-ups. But today, a 12-year-old, a 14-year-old can go to the internet and with a few clicks of the mouse can be watching images of coprophilia, bestiality, rape scenes, possibly real rape scenes. 14-year-old boys are looking at this stuff every day, and no one seems to care. Parents care a great deal and they want governments to do something about it, but governments are terrified to act.
Our new portals of sexual liberation are ironically driving men and women further apart.
What does it say about us when our brothels are now listed on the stock exchange?
And I hear words like, this was animalistic behaviour. Animals don't behave in this way.
Whoever you listen to, the fact is, our most intimate moments are now public property, no longer secret or sacred, but flogged through the market and grey gutters of our big, shiny city.
Whenever you lose sight of the fundamentals, you have to return to the fundamentals. We have to create a culture where sex actually recaptures its mystery because you wait to have it. The right time, right person, right place. We have to stop demeaning sex. We have to stop deprecating it. We have to stop using it to sell beer. We have to stop using it to sell magazines. Sex is the super glue. It's that needle and thread that sews two halves of one unit together as an indivisible unit. And so long as we continue to dilute it with so much water, the glue doesn't work.
Sex is good, but it's private. So get out of the bedroom.
And grow up.